This is the Opie and Anthony Podcast. Find the show on Twitter @Opie Radio, @Anthony Cumia, and @Jim Norton. And on Sirius XM every weekday.
But enough of this palaver. Let's get the show on the road.
Could you ask Vic Henley if he got fired from VH1 all those years ago? I don't even know what that means, but you were sort of telling me during the break that you were a VJ back in, what, 1989 for VH1?
In 1989 for 1 year and 1 year only, I was a VJ. And I knew going in it was a 1 year job.
Yeah.
And,
Why only 1 year?
They were getting rid of all the VJs. They knew they were canceling and going all graphics and voiceovers. There was going to be nobody left. And everybody, they knew 1 year ahead of time they were going to do this, and everybody just took the money and was happy about it.
Okay.
Except some guy got pissy with them and quit. Rosie O'Donnell was on. She saw me at Catch a Rising Star. I kind of knew her a little bit, and she said, "Hey, I just recommended you for something because I know you love music." And ended up getting the gig for a year. And then the guy two weeks to go. Yeah, my story's not as good when Chris Jericho comes in the room.
Hi, Chris.
No, Norton hugging beautiful men always makes me stop a story.
You just banana.
Thanks, Chris. Exactly. While eating a banana. Totally.
You just fucked up Vic Henley's very boring story.
Total horrible story. Right. Exactly.
I don't know if I'm happy or sad.
No,
I was listening to it. I said I got to come in and save the day.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Exactly.
But I set you up. You even told me, like,
I told you it wasn't good.
You're like,
You
there's
asked me.
nothing really to it.
It was a great story. What subway line did you take to get to work?
He was the last
No.
VJ at VH1,
Yeah,
though.
it
That's
doesn't
kind of
really
impressive.
matter.
That's a good one, yeah.
No,
So
okay,
and they
great.
fired his ass back in 1989.
Right, exactly
1989.
right.
They
This
went-
is Kaja Gugu. You're fired.
Close.
Shy.
You listen to Lamal, lead singer Lamal.
Wow,
right.
nice. Or was it Jamal?
No, it was Lamal, and he had a one-hit wonder with the Never-Ending Story theme from the movie.
Nice. Good
There you
call,
go. That's why I had
man.
the gig. That's why I had the gig.
Wow,
ladies
that's
and gentlemen.
You kind of knew the music. God, should be shot.
True. You think I'm happy that shit's in my head?
Wow. Did you hate that gig?
I always went to the program director's office every day and yelled at him for not playing enough variety and not playing stuff. And he was like, "Who are you again?" And I'm like, "You're playing shit."
Isn't it so funny? VH1 it's like stands for Video Hits One.
Right.
I bet you nobody knows that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, back in the old days when they played videos on TV.
God damn
Has
it.
it been
Right.
24 years since they stopped playing videos?
Yep.
Like, God,
Yep.
damn, it was that long
Crazy,
ago.
right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Same with MTV.
They're
too.
starting to play videos again on some of those MTV2 or whatever those
But
other.
they're all 80s videos. They show like, you know, Heavy Metal Thunder weekend or whatever.
Gotta
it is.
love the 80s stuff,
I
right?
know, right?
All
Exactly.
Were they the ones who started doing the video with a pop-up video? That was all VH1, right?
yeah,
they were pretty
That
creative.
was one of their hit shows. Yeah.
And the other one I was thinking of was, remember Behind the Music? How
Yeah.
big that
Oh,
was?
yeah, that
in
was
the
huge.
Early
Yeah, absolutely.
2000s.
Pop-up videos.
That was monster big.
I loved that
Yeah,
stupid
that was
show.
monster
That was
big.
so dumb, but I loved it.
It was monster
Did
big.
you ever see the one for Hot for Teacher?
No.
Pop-up video. They show, like, remember they did that synchronized dance routine?
Yes.
And I guess Roth insisted on it, but they're all really bad, especially Alex Van Halen. And when you watch it, he's totally out of step. They show the arrow, like, Alex is out of step here. Alex forgot the part here. yeah.
That's right.
Bloop, bloop.
Alex hates doing this.
Yes.
Right.
Alex has no rhythm, and he's one of the best drummers ever.
That's funny. Have you ever talked to David Lee Roth?
You know what? I never have. And here's a funny thing about David Lee Roth. And
Yeah.
I just found this out about 6 months ago. And I've been a Van Halen fan for 30 years, as we all have, and I've been in wrestling for 24 years. Roth is a huge wrestling fanatic. Right. And not just he knows the history from Japanese origins through the early 60s and 70s. I never knew that before. And one day I was listening to his, or watching his Roth show,
Right.
his video podcast. And dude, he went off on like the history and the intricacies and stuff I don't even know. And I was like, how did I never know that Roth is a massive wrestling fan? How did I not know this?
I wish,
Why aren't we best friends?
I wish you told us this before today, because we could have got him in here.
Oh my
He
gosh.
hangs with us now.
Yeah.
I heard. And Florentine was on. You brought him on for
Right.
Florentine. But all I get is Norton.
Yeah, that's true.
But the problem is, Chris, if you want to be honest, if you want to promote your book today and we had David Lee Roth in,
Yeah.
you wouldn't sell one fucking
Yeah.
book, because he likes to talk.
Oh, I know.
He's a
and
chatty.
talk
I
and
know.
talk
He's a
and
chatty
talk.
guy. He's David Lee Roth.
Chatty
right?
guy.
When he edits
yeah.
himself, he's fascinating because he has a million stories that we just don't have. He brings his bike to Japan and just fucking
love it.
bikes around the country. Who does that?
And he just laughs uproariously at every story he
Everything.
tells.
Yeah, everything.
Always at weird places. He laughs where the semicolon goes.
Right.
It's just an odd.
I went to Japan the other One day I'd like to have him on my podcast. Jimmy was on it, and it's funny because he did Steve Austin's podcast, and Steve hated it because I guess he just talks so much that he had to do a lot of editing. But I'm like, if it's Roth, it's like grabbing the tail of the dragon. You just try and hold on and let him go, right?
You would do great with him.
Someday, help me.
You don't even need to edit it. You just kind of let him talk for a while.
Right.
Right.
I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
Don't bring any questions in.
Next time you come in, we'll set it up so you guys meet and shit.
That would be great.
Yeah, come in sooner than later. We'll get David Lee Roth in here, and then me and Jimmy get to take the day off because we're not going to get a fucking word in.
We had him in. We had Doc Gooden in here doing a drug confessional book, and it was really a good book. And so Dwight Gooden, we only had him for a little while, and he starts talking about missing the World Series parade because he was smoking crack in the projects. Wow. Really amazing opening to the book.
Yeah.
And he's just starting, and that's such a tragic story. And then David Lee Roth is like, yeah. And he's telling all this fun cocaine stories. Totally. Like, what a great time he had in the 80s.
Totally drugs are.
Totally missing the point that it was a little different.
That's wonderful.
And
That's
then me
great.
and Jimmy are looking at David Lee Roth like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
We're getting
I know.
gold right now.
This is an amazing story. And
We're gonna win a Tony for this, or whatever the radio awards
You're
are.
telling a fun story about Cinderella and fucking.
Chris, what?
No, go ahead.
We just got your book, and Jimmy and I are finally reading again. We're reading everyone's books, but
I see you got piles of books here.
We got piles. Russell Brand's in. I read his book. Billy Idol. I'm reading his book. Who else?
I want to read Idol's
Norman
book.
Lear tomorrow.
Norman Lear's book.
Norman Lear's the book, and Scott Ian and I put out our books on the same day, which I didn't know.
And
Scott's
Jimmy's
book.
reading that one, and then I just finished Joe Perry's book.
This is the time of year.
Yeah, it is. It is. There's some good ones though.
Yeah.
There's some good ones.
But I don't even know what your book's about.
Well, it's the third.
I'm going to be honest.
It's the
Why
third
are
in
you
the
laughing?
trilogy of Jericho books. And the funny thing is, you know how show business works. When something sells, they want another one. So book one came out, we want another one. Book two came out, we want another one. Like, do I really need 3 autobiographies by the time I'm in my early 40s? Like, frickin' Nixon has 1. And I have 3. But then I started writing it, and there's so much stuff between WWE and Fozzy and Dancing with the Stars and going to Iraq and all the different things that I've done that it actually turned out to be probably my favorite of the 3.
Really?
Yeah, a combination of all the stuff.
And you're just not running out of stories yet?
No, like I actually had to start cutting stories,
Still.
which is cool. Yeah, because the thing is too, like I hosted Golden Gods 4 years in a row, so there's like Joe Perry stories and Slash stories and Manson stories, and then WWE went through this phase where they were doing guest hosts every week. So I got knocked out by Tyson one week, and I got attacked by Mickey Rourke for real, and got to hang out with Ozzy. Not as much as Jimmy does now, considering like Ozzy's like minion at this point.
We're going to
in time.
Mexico together.
Yeah, I know. I heard.
I'm carrying his bags gladly.
Oz Fiesta.
Mexico is really dangerous this time of year. There's a lot of cartels that are trying to behead you.
I know, but as long as they do us together, I'm fine.
Norton started twitching there. His eye went all weird.
His eyes got big. He don't give a fuck.
I don't care.
You know, I used to live in Mexico for like 2 years.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
And it's not that crazy. It's not that bad. You're going to go and you're going to have a great time, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, but Juarez is such a weird place for a festival.
But let me tell you this. I wrote this story in my book about Ozzy when he hosted Raw. Now, you probably know some of these stories, but I was hosting. I had to go work with the hosts every week because Vince was always like, well, put Jericho in there with him. He can do something. He'll make it good. And some of the hosts were really, really good, and some were really bad. Al Sharpton, awful
Of
guest
course he
host.
was awful.
Dennis Miller was just talking over the heads of all the
Of
fans.
course.
No one knew what the hell he was talking about.
Of course.
The best ones,
No
though,
surprises
No
yet.
surprises. Best ones were Tyson, Bob Barker, and Ozzy.
Bob Barker was good.
Bob
I could
Barker
see
was
that.
amazing.
Yeah,
the
I
thing
could
is,
see that.
he came in like whenever guest hosts come in to the wrestling world, the fans will boo the shit out of him. Like this week, Kathy Lee was on the show, and they just annihilate her, boo, boo, because they come from the outside world. When Barker came in, I thought they're going to tear him apart, but he came in there and he like had the crowd in the palm of his hand because it was like 60 years of show business experience, right? He knew exactly what to do. And I was like the evil bad heel at the point in time where like people were attacking me on the streets for real. And this was the first kind of entertaining thing that I'd done in a while. We played The Price is Raw, and I was one of the contestants on The Price is Raw. And Barker did something and made, Chris Jericho got pissed off. So I walked up onto the stage and I was looking at him face to face and I was like, Barker, I will take you on anytime, any place, anywhere. And he's got the white hair and he's got the microphone, the little skinny microphone. He's like, Chris, don't make me put you over my knee. Your mother won't be proud of you. Like, he's just had all these little one-liners. Like, Bob Barker was so amazing. But then I was like, Vince, please let me do something with Ozzy. Like, I love Ozzy. as you do. You know, it's like I gotta do something with Ozzy. So they let me do this little thing with Ozzy, and he's kind of standing there, and he's a little bit, you know, he's Ozzy. At first, he's just kind of like clued out, not really paying attention, and then I do the little scene with him, and then he's like talking to me a little bit. I told him that Zach and I are really good friends, and he's like, "Oh, I love Zach, he's great." So I was like, I always wanted to ask one question. I said, "Ozzy, what does SATO stand for?" Which is one of the songs in Diary of a Madman. And I always heard, like, you know, you hear like sail across the ocean.
Yeah.
And I said, does it stand for sail across the ocean? He's like, no, whenever I'm writing lyrics and I can't think of a title, I just use initials. So I was having lunch with me and my ex-wife and Sharon, her ex-husband. So I called the song Sharon, Allen,
Thelma.
And Ozzy.
Thelma and Ozzy. Point being, thanks for blowing the joke, Norton.
Oh, I didn't know you were kidding.
Ozzy
forgot.
Ozzy forgot that.
I'm sorry, man. I really thought that Chris was stuck.
No, Ozzy was stuck. He couldn't remember the name of his own ex-wife.
Who says Jericho can't act?
Thelma and Ozzy. So I was like, that's great. So then I was like, well, what does AVH stand for from No More Tears? Like, that stands for the Austin Villa Highway. It's a highway right beyond my house. And then it was like the famous, like, what does NIB stand for? I said, does it stand for Not in Body or Nativity in Black? He goes, I don't even know what a fucking nativity is, man. My drummer at the time, Bill Ward, he had a big, long, pointy beard like the nib of a pencil. So I just called the song Nib. NIB. So it's like the most evil song ever, but it's just named after his beard, Nib.
I can't believe I just fucking dumbly. Two Jews walk into a bar, but Chris, they're the owners.
Yeah,
What a non-instinct motherfucker I am.
The best thing was that Jimmy, you had the best of intentions.
He really
it's
did.
Thelma. It's
I
Thelma.
thought he got stuck.
He was trying to help. He really was.
I was trying to be helpful.
But why would you help him if he was stuck?
I know everything
That would be
about Ozzy.
wonderful.
That's a good point.
Chris
Well, because
Jericho
the story
couldn't
was the
remember
important part. I would
story.
hate for Ozzy's ex-wife's name not to.
Right.
I wrote Goodbye to Romance.
We found the Bob Barker clip too.
Oh, that's right.
Is it worth playing?
It's pretty long,
funny.
but I mean, there's some great stuff. And the best part of all is you can see I'm only I have my shirt off with the baby oil on, but stuck to my chest I have the yellow Chris Price is Right name tag.
You can barely see
and
it.
it's the official name
You can
tag
barely
too.
see it.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
right,
impressive. Should we play it or?
I play a second of it.
All
See
right,
what
let's
happens.
just see where we're at with it.
You know, Chris, your mother would not be proud of you the way you're behaving. You do know that.
First of all,
Now
nobody.
wait. The man talks. He's actually speaking. What did you say?
I love the name tag. I do love the name tag.
He's pouting. He's pouting.
Dude, I was trying so hard not to
His
laugh.
mother would not be proud. He's being naughty, don't you think?
Being scolded.
You watch your mouth, Barker. Let me explain something to you.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Let me explain something to you, old
Right
man.
ahead. Go right ahead.
Nobody calls me Chris.
No, what do they
No.
call you?
You need to show
they
me
call you
respect. Yeah.
I'm respectfully asking for your bid.
Respectfully asking for
You're playing the game. You're still playing the game.
Don't boo. I think it encourages him.
You need to call me Mr. Jericho.
I do.
Yes, you do. You need to pander to me and show me
Why?
respect
Why?
because I am the best in the world at what I do.
That's debatable, I'm sure.
And I am one half.
One. Did you hear that?
Yeah,
I
I'm
heard
one
the
half.
number one.
I'm one.
That's your bid.
No.
One. Get off the stage.
The price is wrong.
Your bid's one. That name tag is
The name tag is the
hilarious.
best. The name tag is the best. I love
I
it.
take the name tag off and throw it on the ground, and Bob goes, "Don't you litter on my stage? You pick that up." Yeah, so it was just like so stupidly funny, right?
Yeah.
And that and so many other stories available now, and the best in the world at What I Have No Idea. My third book.
Do you actually write all this? Sorry, do you actually write all this, or do you dictate it? Like, do you talk it in?
I write every single word. What I do is
amazing.
I've been working with a guy called Pete Fornatail for many years.
Pete Fornatail?
He's a
Yes,
radio
his
guy.
His dad is the famous Pete Fornatail, who
Right,
just
right,
passed away.
right.
This is his son, and he's like a producer. He doesn't write anything, but I collaborate with him on things. What should I do? Should I add more to this story? Should I edit here? And it's been a pretty good system. But yeah, I wrote everything, and picture captions, dust jacket, everything, man.
What's the Mickey Rourke story? story? Did he attack you for real?
Well, the Mickey Rourke story was.
Here's a picture of it in the book.
Remember, he did The Wrestler.
Of course,
and he was
great
nominated
movie.
for an Oscar. Now Vince actually orchestrated a deal where Mickey was going to wrestle me at WrestleMania 25. Mickey got excited, went on the red carpet awards at the SAG Awards, and said, "I'm going to be taking on Chris Jericho at WrestleMania." His team flipped out because this was before the Oscars, and they thought that he would lose the Oscar if he was involved with those filthy scumbags in wrestling.
Oh, really? No kidding.
So he was forced to pull out. So Vince sent me on Larry King with Mickey. He said, try and goad him into doing the match. So I went into total
Vince wanted them out.
Yes, I was like, I don't respect you, Mickey Rourke. You're a coward. Nothing you do, all this type of stuff. You come into my world, I'll kick your ass. And he was being super like, okay, Chris, but you can see the steam just like wee coming out of his ears. So the show went good. He never accepted it. He took the high road. He didn't do the match. He lost the Oscar and then was decided to come to WrestleMania anyways and do something in the finish in the match that I had. So I go to the ring for rehearsals the night before, and Mickey's standing in the ring with 3 big guys. And I walk in there, and he gives me kind of a fake Hollywood hug, and I've never met him before. I said, hey, man, that was that Larry King thing. I was just doing it to try and goad you in, like playing a part. He's like, no, you weren't. I said, what do you mean? He said, in my world, in the world I come from boxing, when you say that type of shit, it's because you want to fight. He said, you want to fight me. And I said, no, I don't. I'm playing a character, and had to explain to him for 10 minutes that I was playing a part. And I'm like, dude, you were just in a movie about wrestling. You understand how it works.
Right. How do you not get that? Right.
He didn't get it. So
wow.
finally he got it, and he's like, hold on a second. He goes, I'm the one that's up for an Oscar for Best Actor, and you outacted me. And I was like, well, kind of. And he told me that the guys that he had brought with him, and one of them was Frank Shamrock, UFC champion. There was this other Israeli bounty hunter who had tattoos and a beret and just massive, and another guy looked like he was a ninja or something. He goes, I brought these 3 guys here to kick your ass if you tried anything out of line. I flew them in on my own dime to beat you up.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, dude, you don't need 3 guys to beat me up. And he's like, no, I brought these guys in, and I told him that if he does anything, you attack him. And these guys were staring at me. They did not believe that I was only acting. So finally, we worked it out. We made friends. We rehearsed the thing. All the guys left, and Vince is down there. And I said, Vince, you know what those 3 guys were here for? He's like, what? I said, he hired those guys to beat me up. They're like fucking like UFC fighters and bounty hunters. He's like, oh, that's bullshit. He goes, you and me and a couple of guys down here, we could have taken them on. And I said, he goes, look at that one guy. He's a midget. Pointing at Frank Shamrock. Frank Shamrock.
Oh,
and I was like, I'll tell you what, Vince, if something breaks out, I'll take on Rourke, and you take on the midget.
You can take on Frank.
And he goes,
Yeah,
you're
you go
fucking
with the
right,
little
I will.
dude.
I'll kick the midget's ass.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah, man. So yeah, that's the. Actually, you can see right there. You see, Sam, you're doing good, man.
But then he connected on an actual punch, huh?
Well, yeah. Then the idea would he would come in and knock me out.
But he actually hit you?
Yeah, but
he connected.
Come on, what's he gonna?
Oh,
do?
okay, all right.
You know
so
what I mean? Yeah. Unlike the time with Tyson when I had to do a thing with Tyson where he was going to knock me out, and he pulled the punch, but I actually had to stand there and wait for him to punch me, and it was like I'm the craziest man on the planet right now. Like Tyson could be high or drunk or not like me or pissed off, and I'm standing there as Iron Mike comes across with this punch, and he came so close I felt like wind past my face. And I went down and he didn't touch me, but dude, there's a picture in the book.
I see the picture.
It's a knockout punch.
It looks real.
People thought I was knocked out.
That's a great picture in the book.
He came so close to me, man. I thought, okay, like
That's a great picture.
It was perfect, but yeah, it was.
Oh, you even say it. One of my favorite pictures ever.
Yes, Mike Tyson. So
You
getting
spelled
knocked
it
out
that
by
way.
Rourke and Tyson. There you go.
Oh man,
I'm looking for the Tyson photo now.
right in the middle there.
It's in the color.
Right,
a lot of good
right near the
photos.
Aussie picture, Jimmy.
Aussie picture.
Oh, there's Ozzy choking you.
There's
Oh
Ozzy.
wow, that's in mid punch. That's great.
That you guys worked that one perfectly.
That was Tyson, man. I was scared to death,
Perfectly.
dude. Like I said, you're standing there waiting for Iron Mike to take a swing at you.
Yeah.
It's like, I am the craziest man on the
Where you
planet.
at with Fozzy?
We just finished a tour. We were out with Theory of a Dead Man, and then we go out again November 20th with Texas Hippie Coalition, the Cinder Block Party tour. So it's been going great, man. The record came out. It was top 50 on Billboard. The song was top 20, so it's been going really good.
You guys don't really make money off the actual downloads anymore, right? It's not that
Off the
much.
records, yeah. It's all about
You got-
live.
Touring.
You got
I mean,
a tour.
Yeah, you got to tour.
make your
You got to be
money.
out there, sell the merch and VIPs and tour. And it's the same for everybody. I mean, Ozzy will tell you that too. I mean, they might have made a little bit of money off 13, but I bet you it wasn't much. You know, it's all touring nowadays. That's how musicians make money.
And it's funny, with the overhead is so much less now too, without the shipping of the records and the CDs, because so much of it is download. You think that the artist would make more with less overhead for the companies.
But the thing is, though, it's downloads that people aren't paying for.
Spotify.
You know, Spotify's okay.
Oh, Spotify, yeah.
Spotify's okay though, but there's
They
still
give you a little taste, Spotify?
They do. I mean, you don't ever really see it. That's one thing I like about books is you actually see royalties. I get royalty checks every 6 months from my other 2 books. Records, you know, CDs, never really. But a lot of people still don't go on Spotify, man. It's still kind of just downloading the record, listening to it, you know, on YouTube
free?
for free.
Wow.
Yeah.
Plus, a lot of artists just gave up because you go to YouTube, you could listen to almost anything now.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and there's a way to monetize that as well. I mean, if you go to look, I mean, I was looking at what's the band One Republic, Counting Stars or whatever. I just went to check out the video, see what they did. 150 million downloads of views of that video,
Wow.
and apparently you can make some money off that too. But that's 150 million people have listened to that song.
So it helps the touring.
Yeah, well, it's a whole new way. I mean, we're kind of stuck between the old and the new. All of us that, I mean, even you in the radio business, Opie, is that the old way of doing things is dying, but there's a new way of doing things that we're just exploring and finding out about, and we're kind of in the transition phase.
Yeah.
You know, like when Gene says rock and roll is dead, it's not dead, but it's just in a metamorphosis.
Yeah.
And that's why you're talking about Spotify, you're talking about podcasting or, you know, subscription radio or Kindle or any of these things. It's just like, you know, our kids will grow up never knowing what an actual book is, you know, or their kids, but it'll be a new way of reading, a new way of making money, and all these products that you have.
I love buying books still. Maybe
Me too.
Maybe I'm showing my age, but
Yeah,
I
I'm
like
the same way.
holding the
Me
fucking
too,
book.
yeah.
I've done the Kindle, but I
It's
don't know.
hard, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I
it's
don't know.
convenient.
Right.
You know, like I wanted to read Paul Stanley's book a couple months ago, and I couldn't find it.
I heard that
And
was good,
It's a
actually.
great book. You should read it.
I haven't read
It's
it. It's the one I haven't
good.
read.
I really
That's
liked
the only
it.
one you haven't read.
Yeah, because I
Heard
couldn't get an
before.
interview with him. He was all weird with interviews. He wasn't doing rock interviews. I wanted to do him for the Boneyard.
Yeah,
Brothers.
I had him booked for my podcast, and he canceled the day of too.
What was that about?
I guess he just got burned out, or
Yeah,
who
but he's
knows,
Probably
man.
sick of talking about Kiss on the Hall of Fame and Ace and Peter. He probably got sick
Yeah,
of the
it
rock
was
guys
right
asking
around
him.
that time. You know, because I had Ace booked for my show too, and he canceled around.
Oh,
the
we
same,
had
the
Ace.
same thing. Yeah, I
He
got him
told
to-
some stories.
Yeah, he's not afraid to
I
talk,
love
man.
Ace, man.
He's not afraid to talk.
Yeah, he'll
about
talk
what
some
he
shit.
feels.
Did you read the Peter Chris book?
Yes.
Holy fucking shit! When he's talking about getting blown into the covers, and he goes, and Ace was down there with this girl, and I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I
he's
know.
basically implying that Ace and this girl blew him.
But isn't that the kind of the way that the 70s was? Like, remember when Bowie and Mick Jagger were rumored
Same,
to be?
right. There was
I
all
think
that. There was all kinds
you
of,
fuck
you
so
know.
many chicks that it's like, well, let me suck your dick. Let's
Especially
see
if
what
it's Peter
about.
Chris. Like, yeah, why not? You played the solo in 100,000 years. I'll let you come by now.
That's right. That's right.
It's not gay because you had a wonderful solo there.
That scene in the Bob Crane movie with Greg Kinnear and Willem Dafoe, and
Yeah.
they're always banging all these chicks, and they're watching the movie and jerking off next to each other, and then Bob Kinnear sees Willem Dafoe put his finger. Wait, did you just put your finger in my ass right there? Because we're not queer. And he's like, it's a goddamn orgy, Bob. Jesus Christ.
Well, that's what I mean, right? Like, I think if you're that bored and you banged that many chicks, why not give it a try? You know what I mean? Like, why not?
Bowie and Jagger. Can you imagine that?
Well, it was funny because I just was watching
Wow.
the Live Aid DVD on the tour bus the other day, and on the DVD is the video for Dancing in the Streets. Remember, there was the
Sure.
little
Yeah.
duet that he did?
Yeah.
Dude, you want to watch like something that's pretty much gay?
Yeah.
Watch that because they're in each other's faces as close as I am to this microphone,
yeah.
and they're preening and prancing. They're wearing like flowery, flowing robes.
long jackets,
Just
right.
like right in each other's face, and Mick is Mick. He does it all the time. But Bowie looked like really, Dave. Like you're gonna do that? It's pretty.
He wanted a little more of Mick Jagger.
It's not good. It's not a particularly good
It's
video.
not what you want to hear about. No, it's not. It's
No,
terrible.
it's awful. Yeah.
I kind of
terrible.
wish they never did that because
it's bad.
those two guys are fucking rock
Well,
legends.
we
yeah.
can't bring it up because, but where's Sam? How jaded is Sam that Chris Jericho is in studio and he doesn't think
They don't
that he
give
needs
a fuck about Chris Jericho.
Who is he to
Tyler.
not sit with one of his heroes?
Dude,
Are you gonna
10 years ago, he was like couldn't even talk. He was so
Right.
nervous to meet me, and now he's like,
He's
yeah,
not-
whatever.
it's like, that's it, he's out.
Yeah, he just
He's
split.
Can you
totally
imagine
out.
Ozzy or
He's on
Iommi
his
being
phone.
here and me not being here? I'm
Sorry.
on the phone outside. Never happened.
See, look, Sam's on the phone out there, just hanging around.
Hey, what are you doing?
He's
You,
got
one of
stuff to
your,
do. Who else are you going to talk to, Sam?
who are you talking to?
Chris?
Yeah,
You,
sorry.
you talk about that?
What's that? Tattoos?
No, this on your.
What do I got?
I'm gonna maybe sound
Is it
like
a
an
scar?
asshole if you've never talked about
scar?
that crazy scar. I've never noticed that before.
Dude, yeah, I've had this.
You got,
from
like,
the
from
moment
your-
we first met, man.
From your wrist almost halfway to your elbow, you got a pretty significant scar.
I broke my arm in '94 trying this flippity-dippity move called the shooting star press.
Right.
And it was before a match. I was in Knoxville working for a small company, and I broke my arm. I went to the hospital, and the guy said, you need surgery immediately because the arm was snapped in two, but I didn't feel any real pain. It just looked weird. I was like, does this look weird to you? And I had this divot in my arm, and it was like I was like moving it like one of those rubber pencils. Like,
it didn't really hurt?
So no. And I'm from Canada. I got a high tolerance for pain.
Right, exactly.
So I went to the hospital. He said, you need surgery now. I said, well, I got to go do this appearance at a wrestling show. And he's like, well, don't you do anything physical? I'm like, of course not. And we were in one of the main events. And of course, I went in and wrestled a match with a broken arm.
Wow.
And then went to the hospital the next day and got the plate, steel plate put in there. And the worst thing of all is that it was Knoxville, Tennessee, and I never met any hot chicks. And after that show, I met these two chicks, Daisy Duke, like the hot, like country girls.
Hey, Chris.
Like, hey, you want to come out with us tonight? And I'm like, I can't. I got to get surgery. It was the worst ever. The night I could have got laid by two hot country girls, and instead I had a stupid broken arm. So
that's the surgery.
So I still have the plate in there. It's been 20 years now.
Do you set off the metal detector?
No, I don't.
No.
I've never done that, which people said you're going to do that. So it never. And apparently you're supposed to at some point get it taken out.
Yep.
But when you have screws in your bone, for every year that the screw is in there, if you take it out, that's how long it takes to heal up
I've
again.
got two in my knee, same thing.
Right,
they keep telling me you should take them out. No, leave them in. Every doctor says leave them in.
Just leave it in there.
Absolutely.
They'll never get bad or infected or anything.
No.
So why do
Yeah.
they say take them out then?
Just again,
I don't know.
They say because it's still a foreign object in your knee, and if you want to go through the process of it healing properly, then you'll be all natural, and your body will
Something like
replenish.
that.
And
Will
blah,
the
blah,
bone
blah,
go back to fill the hole now?
Yeah, it just takes longer if you take it out.
If you take the screws
if you
out,
take it out, it will happen. But
How long would it take now? You said 1
They
year or
said,
so.
the longer you
is
keep
that
it
right?
in.
Like if you had it for 20 years, it would take 20 years.
It
to
might
heal
take a
something?
long. It's not that long, but
Okay.
it will take
Takes
a
a while.
long
It'll take a
time.
while.
Yeah.
So you'd be in trouble for a couple more years if you took that out.
Oh yeah, man, you'd be screwed. And I've never had a
Yeah.
problem with it. I was pretty lucky. So it just for whatever reason worked out good.
You obviously went right back to working out.
Well, yeah.
It didn't affect your
He's right. He's
It
a
was
your
weird, though.
biceps.
They put the-
Jesus.
They put the cast on from hand to elbow.
Yeah.
And, I was just a kid. Well, how old was I? 23, 24 years old. And the cast was pissing me off. So I would bend my wrist back and forth. And after 4 weeks, I broke the cast and took it off my hand. So I was basically just wearing like a gauntlet. I could have put studs on it and been like, Slayer.
Wow.
It was bad. And I went to see Metallica in Atlanta. It was like the summer get out of the studio tour or something, and I saw Kirk Hammett in a bar, and I went up to him and asked him if he could sign his autograph, and he said, "Only if you use my boner as a speed bump." And I never remembered what that meant, or figured out what that meant. I was like, okay. So he signed it and put the little Metallica logo they were doing. And years later, when I finally met Kirk for real, I was like, dude, I met you once in a bar, and you said you signed my cast if only you'd use your boner as a speed bump. He goes, dude. He goes, I was so fucked up. I was drinking Frangelica all night long. And I was like, well, it definitely fucked you up. It definitely fucked you up.
Are you going to go back to wrestling?
I was just back for the summer. Whenever
Did a little run?
Fozzy's off the road, I'll go back for a couple months, and it was a good run. But our record came out, and then it was time to go back on tour again. So
that's how well Fozzy's doing.
Yeah.
Isn't it hard to walk away from WWE? Although you could go back whenever you want.
yeah,
so.
and I've always done other stuff, man. I've always considered myself more of an entertainer than anything because between Fozzy and wrestling and podcasts, and then some of the other stuff I've been doing, as the years go on. Nothing against anybody that's still wrestling in their 50s and 60s, but I don't want to do that. I never did. And in the day that I feel like I can't perform at the highest level, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
I went and saw the Stones or even Sabbath on this last tour. They're 65, 70 years old, McCartney, and they're still whipping ass. They sound great. It was a great show. If they kind of started sucking, I bet you nobody would want to do that unless you had to.
The Stones are up to 70.
70.
Right?
Yeah.
I saw them last summer, and they kicked ass. They were great.
I was wondering if they're still doing well. We saw them about, how many years now? Probably 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Probably eight to 10 years ago.
It's
and
like
they were
30 feet away,
It was
right?
unfucking believable
Right.
how well they did.
And still great. Mick
Oh,
is
yeah.
great. And, that's
His voice has changed over the years, though.
Well, but the thing is, though,
I
he's
like-
70 years old, man.
Yeah.
But that started a while ago with, I don't know.
But actually, he sounds better now than he did in the early '80s. A lot of guys,
right, I
Bruce
gotta check it
Dickinson's
out
like
again.
that.
I gotta check it out again.
Even Ozzy's way better now than he was 10 years
Yeah,
ago.
I think a lot of times they clean up and their lifestyle changes. Like
Exactly.
the older they get, they're like, no more of this, no more of that, because they realize they're going to die
That's
someday.
right. Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. And you try because I think the worst thing you can do as a pro is go out there and not be good, not be at your best, and feel like shit when you're doing it.
We saw Paul McCartney at the Apollo. I mean, I've been to a million shows in my life. That nothing will ever beat that.
Bingo,
It's great.
right?
It was unbelievable. We were so close to the stage, and his voice was exactly how you
still
expect it
hits
to
all
be.
those little Richard notes.
And he's running around the stage,
Yeah.
and he was probably 60.
The Apollo was 2 years ago, man.
68-ish,
Yeah.
probably.
In a beautiful suit. McCartney's just
And also,
That's the shit, yeah.
He's just singing yesterday, and you're like, that's the guy. The guy. Here he is singing it right now for us.
I know, and that's the thing. It's cool if he was up there and it wasn't. I saw a cartoon once in Mad Magazine when I was probably 10, and it was Batman in his 60s, and he was all fat. And he was
Yeah,
wearing the
I
bat
remember that
uniform.
cartoon.
Yeah, I remember that. It's like, I never wanted to be fat Batman.
Right, that says a lot.
And like
Fat Elvis was very sad.
Well, and even
Fat
exactly,
Elvis was very sad.
If you Google Fat Jericho a couple of years ago before I started doing yoga, Google Fat Jericho. See the picture that pops up.
You got Fat Jericho?
It's
There's
in my
Fat
book.
Jericho,
It's in my-
really?
yeah.
It's in the new book?
Yeah. I lost about. It's in the color picture.
Oh, there you are. Oh, wow.
Yeah, look at that.
Are we allowed to
man.
laugh?
That's
Or you
you?
gonna
Of
fucking-
course. Fat Jericho.
What happened to
What year was
happened
that?
And I never know. It was 2010. I never realized it until I started doing yoga. And I
Wow.
lost about 30 pounds, and I went back and saw that picture, and I was mortified.
It looks like you're doing an homage to Dusty Rhodes, The
Well,
American
I
Dream.
was getting there,
Dusty
man.
Rhodes, The American Dream.
And that's how I was like, fuck that,
Oh,
dude.
man.
Yeah, see, I will never be
Wow.
Fat Jericho. And I was getting close to it. And
Nice
that's when,
boobs, though. Nice
well, see, I
boobs.
was getting the man boobs. I had the gut hanging over the tights there. But no one
That's
told me.
silly.
I didn't know. I didn't know it was fat. Why didn't you guys tell me? I wasn't here hanging out with you guys.
What were you doing differently?
I was just eating, drinking a lot of beer. I haven't had a beer in 4 years. I changed my diet.
After my second kid, I went through a Lucky Charms phase. So I understand.
It was hard to lose that baby weight.
There's
right?
a couple
Yeah.
of horrendous pictures of me as well on the internet.
But that's what I mean. And you look
I
back
finally
at
lost.
it.
I finally
Jimmy.
lost the baby weight, but I went through my stage. It was
Well,
Lucky
there's-
Charms for me.
There's Fat Norton pictures. When I first met you, you were probably 30,
Those are just
40
called
pounds
Norton
heavier.
pictures. Find a fat picture of me in 2005 or 6. It's fucking
Jesus.
Yeah,
horrendous.
when we first met was I think 2007, and I remember like, oh my god, I saw you a couple years when you first lost.
Wow,
weight.
that I cannot believe.
Look at that.
Yeah, there you
Look
go.
at that fat bastard.
Yeah.
Jimmy, I
See?
don't remember you like that anymore. I
See,
just don't remember it.
Fat
the Comedy
Jericho
Cellar.
and
Comedy
Fat
Cellar
Norton.
picture with Robin Williams.
Robin
Oh, that's
At
with
the
Robin
Cellar.
Williams. I didn't even see
Yeah.
that picture.
Yeah, at the Cellar. At the
You
Cellar.
told the story of my podcast. When you came on to talk about Robin Williams, you're talking about the Comedy Cellar and hanging out in the back
yeah.
room.
Yeah.
This might have been the exact story. Wow.
No, well, he had been there many, many times.
Jimmy, how much you weigh there?
I'm going to guess somewhere beting. I'm like
real.
150 now. I'm going to guess about closer to 180.
Man, that's how much I weigh now.
Yeah? Oh, you look good, Vic. Oh, you wear it well.
You're an inch and a half taller. But see, that you never notice it. You look back at the pictures and you're like, oh my gosh.
But
And
I've always remembered you. You've been doing our show for almost 10 years. You've always been in great shape
me
when
too.
you come in here.
But you look at that. I mean, it's Fat Jericho.
That's hilarious.
So
that is funny.
and that's what
Yeah,
I was like.
I guess you had to stop doing the steroids at that point. And
Dude, I was never much of a steroid guy. It's just that I remember I was at my.
I got scared
Nice.
saying that.
I know. I see
I
it
don't know how the
backing
wrestlers
away.
can handle that one.
After
Backing
14
away.
years, man, you can say whatever you want at this point. I think you've called me out on everything at this point. But I remember I was. At
Did
my
you ever cycle though?
did back
Little bit.
I did a little bit. It never really did. I mean, it hardened me up and stuff, but I was always 220 pounds, 215 pounds until I became Fat Jericho. And I remember it was my son's birthday party, and I was eating chicken wings and drinking beer all day. And I
God.
got on the scale at the end of the day, and I was 231 pounds. I'm 202 pounds now. So I lost basically 30 pounds since
Wow.
then. And you just never noticed.
No, never noticed
You know?
that. When did you start yoga?
I did Dancing with the Stars, and I herniated a disc in my back, which
I got
I'm
two.
See, okay, that's when I started yoga.
Yes, that's when I started.
Because my no, that's when I started.
That's when I.
Hey,
Are you got the one lower one?
I had the one lower one, and
a nightmare.
a friend of mine, Diamond Dallas Page, started his own yoga.
Oh, yeah, we know.
DDP
Okay,
yoga.
yeah, sure.
And he called me one day when I was getting acupuncture. I tweeted the picture. He's like, "What's your problem?" I said, "This is it." He said, "You got to try my yoga." I'm like, "Yoga's for hippies and gurus and for whatever effeminate people." And he was like, "No, you got to try it." And then the option was get either back surgery or do yoga. So I started doing yoga, and it was super hard, and I was really frustrated because I liked doing things right, and I couldn't do it right. And then finally, after about 2 or 3 months, the pain went away, and I started losing weight, like shedding it. And ever since
Yoga
then,
helps with the weight loss too.
it does, man.
absolutely.
Especially his yoga, DDP, because it's all about weight resistance, isometrics, that sort of thing, where you basically you could lift weights without having weights. I could get a better workout just by using nothing, like right now, and just resisting everything, and you lose a lot of weight from it.
I didn't realize how hard of a workout yoga is until I started doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's ridiculous.
That's the thing.
Does your back still pop out?
No, I mean, my back, I can feel it going in line when I do yoga. The only time it starts hurting me is when I don't do yoga.
DDP got fucked on Shark Tank, by the way. Did you
He
see that
did, he
episode?
did.
They didn't appreciate his yoga.
But apparently it went through the roof after he did that
Well,
show.
I figure the
so-
exposure is good, even if they don't. I think it's better.
Yeah,
if
they've
you
had some hits. They've
if
had
you
some
go on
hits.
Shark
Right.
Tank,
Yeah.
if you go on Shark Tank and don't get picked, I think you're in a better
Yes,
spot
right,
in
right,
most
right,
cases.
Because
right.
you don't have to sell the ownership or whatever it is.
Right,
'cause that's what they want.
You got to
They
sell your
want-
soul,
They
basically.
want 51%.
I wonder if they get a little taste just if you go on that show.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think they get
It
the
says,
option.
yeah, it
Okay.
says.
But I think that's also one of the reasons he didn't want to sell 51%. He wanted to sell like 20%.
Good for him.
Whatever. So
Do you ever try hot yoga?
I don't know anything about yoga except for DDP yoga. It's like, do the Mortimer pose? I'm like, what's the Mortimer pose? I have no
Right.
idea. Do the morning glory? I have no idea. I just know the poses that he talks about.
How long does it take to get
It's about
through?
30 minutes or 40 minutes. And the thing is, you can do it in your hotel room. You can do it on the tour bus. Or sometimes, if it's nice, I'll put a towel out on the grass next to the bus.
You just need a little mat.
You don't
can
have to
do
go
everything
any-
on
yeah.
your mat.
I have 2 mats.
Yeah, the mat thing's
Do
a
you
little
use
rough.
them?
Occasionally, I get some. I like yoga stretching. I have sometimes a yoga person that will come over and she stretches me, and I do some yoga, but I'm usually tired after the gym.
Yoga person.
Well, yeah.
A young lady.
He has an ulterior
Young
motive.
lady.
No, she's legit
Right,
though.
right,
Unfortunately,
right.
But
she's
it's-
totally
she's from
legit.
She's from
Yeah.
Thailand.
She's from Thailand.
He goes,
Yeah.
she's legit, unfortunately.
Yeah, she makes me do real yoga. I hate it, but she's good.
I remember when Jimmy started talking about yoga, but it was like, he had the ulterior motive that he was hoping for something.
Yeah.
Happy ending.
But now he's into the yoga a little bit.
Now, they don't go with all the touchy-feely stuff in the DDP, because that's what annoys me on some of the videos when I try to do it. Instead of just telling you how to do the stretch or exercise, it's always, and circle your soul to the point of
Yeah.
the sun,
None of that.
caressing.
Yeah,
None of
this-
that.
this is not hippy-dippy.
That'll
It's-
ruin it for you.
That's right.
I like the
It's
exercises.
get
I don't
in
want to hear
there,
right.
Get the fucking job done
Yes,
and get in
yes,
shape.
yes,
That's the
yeah.
attitude.
But Chris, you got to go hot yoga for the girls.
For the chicks, right.
They're
yeah.
sweating their asses off.
I can pick
Jimmy
up-
went a couple times. I haven't gone hot yoga yet.
I want to go again because now I'm in better shape.
Does the
My
room just-
cardio's better. I could probably do it. It's an hour and a half or an hour and 15.
Does the room smell, though?
Yeah, but you're so worried about having a complete heart attack. You don't really give a shit about that. You're like, I just want to live. It's an hour is the perfect length. It's 90 minutes, and it's a little too long.
That's too long, yeah. I mean, 30 minutes, 40 minutes is what I like to do. More
Nothing
than that, I
better
get
than a
bored.
girl with a good taint doing the moves in front
That's
of her.
the thing, dude. They're all sweating.
That takes away the sex appeal, though.
You
know?
think?
No,
Yeah, to me
come
it
on.
does.
Nice
No,
little-
yes.
A sweaty
Everyone's
asshole
bending
is not
over,
my
you're-
thing.
Oh, I love a good sweaty asshole right in front of me.
Sweaty taint. A sweaty taint. I
That
like-
taint area could get you through a yoga class.
There was
Oh,
guys.
absolutely.
There's guys in the
You do
class in
yoga?
great
Oh,
shape.
sometimes, sure. Yeah, totally.
And they were tapping out at a certain point. There was guys in way better shape than I was,
Yeah.
and they were at 45 minutes. They had to sit for a couple of minutes. I'm like, if they're not fucking doing it, there's no way I can do
It's
an hour
hard,
and a half of
man.
this shit.
And especially when you're a guy, and for me, I'm an athlete or whatever the fuck I am, and then trying to do something where you just feel like a total loser, like I can't even bend over. It's discouraging.
Yeah.
It really is. But that's why you just slowly get better and better, and then now, like I said, it's just an average thing, a natural thing for me.
You meditate too?
No.
Wait,
No, I never got into that. You meditate?
A little bit, yeah.
So how do you do that?
It's not easy.
Like, it's hard to shut your mind off. I can never do that.
Yeah, and you just gotta repeat your mantra, and then the thoughts do come in, and you just
What's your mantra?
That's top
can't
secret
say that,
shit. What's
yeah.
wrong with you, Jimmy?
Why can't you say it?
Well, it's like secret,
I didn't know that. Is that true?
Spiritual stuff,
I had
yeah.
no idea.
Secret
I had no
shit.
idea.
You're supposed to pick
Wow.
it and never reveal.
Oh, you pick it?
No, the class I take is an actual mantra.
Oh, someone gives it to you?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's like-
Yeah.
Oh, you can't even pick your own mantra?
You can.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
when I meditate on my own, I actually pick another word because it's a little easier. Yeah.
Well, if it's a class mantra, you gotta.
No. with these
Right, are you
assholes
gonna
out there, go
right.
fuck
Who
yourself.
cares? Fuck them.
Fuck them.
Jealous.
Guru Swami Mashi would be mad at him. if he
Meditation's
does that.
pretty cool though.
Is it? See,
Yeah.
I-
Sometimes it's all horseshit and I can't get relax. And other times, man, wow, you go
So
on
what is
a,
it? You just if you can
a
drop,
journey.
if you can drop in
Yeah, man. You see shit that you can't even explain with human language. It's kind of
I've heard
creepy.
about that. It's like I can't remember what they call it, remote viewing or something like that.
And you see sometimes you see images coming at you and faces and just creepy shit and colors sometimes and other times you hear the fucking trucks outside the window and you just sit there and go, all right, this hour's a waste of time.
Was that meditating or an acid trip that you had?
I was going to say,
yeah. You know,
I think I would have done well with acid. I wish I did some acid.
Damn it! I wish you did acid.
Did you do acid?
Never.
I did a little
acid.
shrooms, and the shrooms were nice.
Yes.
I liked shrooms.
Oh, shrooms are wonderful.
But I
Shrooms are
only did it a
absolutely
couple
fabulous.
times. It scared me a little bit. I wasn't mature enough to really handle it properly.
Shrooms. Well, the thing is,
I
you
went
have
to a jazz festival, and I
gotta-
could hear raindrops. I was like, what the fuck? I'm not joking. I was like, you could hear raindrops?
course, right.
You gotta
Individual raindrops, I
course.
mean, not just rain falling
I'm
down.
with you. I'm totally with you.
My last mushroom trip, I looked at the moon and saw the face of Lenny Kravitz.
All right.
And ever since
not
then, I
bad.
was like, I can't handle this. Like, I looked
Yeah.
up and he's just standing at me. Let love rule, brother. And it's like,
That is so
love rule,
random.
brother.
yeah, I don't know why.
Let
You know?
love
But you know
rule,
what's true?
brother.
I trained in method acting about 7 or 8 years ago. And like this, like, you know, the Meisner, Stanislavski, whatever. And that's a form of meditation because you sit there and you move your arms and you like go, and it's like, what the fuck is this? Is this a cult or what is it? But the idea is you drop deep down inside yourself and then they'll be like, okay, remember a time when you were a child and you felt abandonment. Like, you know, if you ever got lost in a Target or whatever and couldn't find your parents and how that felt. And then you take those feelings and use that in the script of, you know, you're playing a part of somebody who has abandonment feelings, and you actually go deep inside, pull out these horrible emotions, and then use them in the character.
Wow.
That's the basis of what method acting is, and it's called dropping in. That's what all those guys like Pacino and Dustin Hoffman and Heath Ledger, all these guys get really into it, which is a form of meditation as
Right.
well. See?
The best one I had was it was when my dad shows up in my meditation, and then I relived all these moments since I was a kid all the way up to pretty much his last days, and they were so real, like I was reliving it. It was crazy, just
from meditating,
just basic shit. Where like I was really into basketball, and he was really good at basketball, and so he was my coach, and we blah blah blah, and just like so specific, like parking the car back in the driveway, I could hear the crickets again and a spring day and walking back into the house with my dad, just real fucking moments that I know I lived with my dad. It was fucking...
It's almost like hypnotism or something.
It was
right?
weird,
Yeah.
and for whatever reason, it was one after another. Us at my grandma's beach house and this and that and just having these talks.
That's
but
crazy.
I felt
I didn't
like
know
he was
that.
alive.
Yeah, I didn't know that you could get that.
But
from...
then other times, like I said, you hear fucking people walking their dogs and trucks, and you're out. You're not even getting close to like bringing it down to that place.
You seem like me. Like, can you ever turn your mind off, Jimmy? I can never fucking stop like thinking of ideas or.
I'm the worst. Never.
You know, I can never do it. Like,
Never.
Everyone's like that, though.
You know?
You
Like-
think you're not, you know, that you're alone.
I
in
guess,
that, but
right?
You just got to have patience.
I play music. I can't get quiet or sit still. I'm the same way as you two.
You listen to music?
But I'll blare
Or
the music
spoons.
so loud and turn the phone off, and I'll literally just sit or dance around my apartment or go crazy. It might be metal or if someone was outside listening, you would totally think I was schizophrenic, going from hip hop to Hank Senior back over here to Foo Fighters up here. That, you know, but I do that. That's probably it. That gets me in a quiet place.
That's
or
the
it's-
crystal meth. That you're fucking
going back to my hillbilly
Holy
roots.
shit.
You know, going back to my hillbilly roots. That's all it is.
The Opie and Anthony podcast continues.
Russell Brand's got a fucking...
a mob. Yeah,
Does he really?
that's what happens. You write a book, you get a mob. My mob's outside. I wouldn't let
You
him
got a
in.
mob.
Oh my
I
God.
don't have much of a mob. You guys are my mob. Can you guys be my mob when he comes
sure.
in?
Yes.
Pretend
Right.
I'm Opie. He
We're
won't
all,
know the
we're all
difference.
Jericho's people.
He's got a bit of an entourage.
With Jericho's
He'll never
people.
know. I'll say I'm Opie.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
You're my entourage.
Hey, Russell Brand. What's up, Russell?
Everything's beautiful.
Everything's beautiful. Welcome to the show.
How you doing, man?
Very well, thank
All right.
Dude, that's Chris Jericho.
How you doing? Nice to meet you.
Excuse me.
Hello.
Jim Norton.
Hey, good to see you.
You too, man.
Hey, I'm Vic Henley. How are you?
What's going on, bro? Good to see you. It's been a while.
It's been a little while, hasn't it? Since
Yeah, we
another.
kind of used to have fun with you, and then you went off and became a huge star on us.
Sirius now owns everyone.
Huh?
Yeah, Sirius owns everything. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He's taken over everything.
Amazing.
Yeah, they pretty much got it cornered.
We were just talking about Jimmy got his bum pat for $20 one night in Vancouver.
I got
from
I got two
prostitute.
hookers in Vancouver, and I got 8. I spent my last $100 American, $80 on the blowjob, and then $20 for the other one. Let me pat her on the bum.
It's not a bad deal.
No, it's great.
For a bum pat.
No, I mean, it's okay. I mean, if we're going to talk about the sex industry, we should mention that it.
Let's
it
just
can
jump
be.
right in.
I hope
Icebreaker.
you were loving and affectionate to the women that you were working with.
I
there,
certainly
Jimmy.
was. I paid up front. I was a gentleman. And then I walked out of the alley, went back to my hotel, and went to a spiritual meeting. It's a true story.
You're the ideal John. You're a great wallet.
You went right to a meeting after
Oh, yeah, I
that.
was out there for a 12-step convention. It was really a healthy trip, 1990.
Working that program, baby.
Yeah.
A little bump in the road, it happens.
Keep it, you got to give it away, as they say.
Russell, I read just about the whole book. I
You
was
were
trying
joking,
to,
honestly.
No, I was trying to get the whole thing done, and I'm about 80 pages short. But
Oh, wow.
that's
I'm
most of
flattered.
it. It's
Thank
called
you.
Revolution, and I enjoyed it immensely. And then I tell people that you're going to be coming in here, and people are like, that libtard.
That what? Limp tard?
Lib.
libtard.
They had to throw a label on it right away without even knowing what the fuck's in the book.
What's a libtard?
About being a liberal.
Oh, liberal. Okay.
Like,
What does liberal mean? Freedom.
Okay, I'm from Canada, so I don't lib. Okay.
I don't want any freedom. Don't you dare be liberal. Restrict me, control me, and shut me down. What kind of world would it be for you, Jim, if there was no freedom? What kind of hooker stories would you come here with then? I couldn't do it. I lived under a communist dictatorship.
I'd have the same stories, but I would just keep them under my hat.
I had a quiet evening. I stayed indoors and spent £100 on flags with Stalin's face on them.
Yeah, and that was tapioca pudding on my floor.
And
Just don't step in it.
I learned that you were doing an interview, and someone's like, "All right, you want a revolution? How's this gonna, happen?" And then you went, "Oh, I'll write a book about it," instead of trying to answer your question here today.
Yes.
And that's how this all came about.
Yeah, I spoke to loads of people that one of the things I was surprised by, Opie, is that we're told constantly, look, I know things are bad for ordinary Americans. I know 1 in 6 of you, even though you've got jobs, are having to live on food stamps. I know we're in the worst depression since the 30s, but this is the only thing we can do. There's no alternative. I thought, that can't be right, can it? And it turns out that the people who are saying there are no alternative are the people that benefit from it staying exactly as it is. Of course, it's all been a coup. So I spoke to economists and anthropologists and people that know the score, and I tried to make their academic stuff funny and interesting and easy to read. That was the challenge of the book.
The challenge for me was all the big words you used.
Sorry about those.
Holy fuck. I didn't have time to look up every single word that I didn't know in this book.
I know, but in a way, it's like there's a musicality to language. Say a word like ameliorate. That just means make better. Ameliorate. If you look, the reason I learned long words, and you'll appreciate this, Jim, was to impress girls. I was a tubby teenager. I needed to have the language. I needed to have the words. I needed lyrics, and thank God they've stayed.
And you can't tell Russell you didn't know what the words mean. Here's the way you do it. You got to go, you talked about ameliorating. Explain.
That's a much better system.
I was like lugubrious. That's my favorite. You know lugubrious?
Wow.
I know
That's
what
a
that
good
is,
one.
but what is that?
Write that down.
Is that in your book?
That's in my book. Which, by the way, Russell, he said that he read almost all your book.
We just got his book today.
He read none of mine, so it's pretty good.
I feel flattered.
That's
Thank you
the-
very
yeah,
much.
he
None
looked-
of your
he
best in the world book.
Yes, he did look at a picture. But lugubrious means melancholy, Jimmy.
Yes.
Like you're oh, yes, you knew that
I
one.
love
Yes, of
that.
course.
That's good.
Yeah,
Lugubrious.
lugubrious.
We're
Keep that
learning
down.
words.
Yes.
And what's the one you just said, Russell?
Ameliorate.
And that means
make
what?
things better.
Okay,
Ameliorate.
good.
the
I'll
situation.
trade you one lugubrious for ameliorate.
Absolutely,
See, we
fair
walk
trade.
away as smarter men today.
Smarter men
I'm glad
together,
I met you.
growing together. I feel glad and grateful as well. I might even keep this book, maybe.
I'm going to steal Opie's Revolution book.
We're
I got an extra
please
one. You want
share
one?
it.
Share
We
it
can all
around,
share
share
the
around.
resources.
Yeah, I learned a lot, though. I learned about Thomas Jefferson saying that every generation should have a revolution, and we haven't had one since.
Yeah, because the reason you had the American Revolution is because you were governed by people that took your money but didn't represent you because they were only cared about imperial British incentives. Well, so you had a revolution and quite rightly kicked them out, or us out from my perspective, and it still hurts, man. But now you've got a situation where there is an economic elite who doesn't represent ordinary people. They're only interested in representing big business, but because they're the same nationality as you don't really notice it. And it's the same in my country. I'm not coming over here. I'm not making the mistake of being an Englishman coming over here to tell you how to run your country. We've got the exact same problems in our country. You've got 2 political parties to vote for. They're both going to do the same things. And if you're an ordinary person, you ain't getting represented. That's that.
And with that, I learned you never voted. I've never voted.
Yeah,
and
why
I
don't you
appreciate
vote?
that. Because I didn't believe in the guys.
That's me too. I just think I don't trust
I
these
never
guys.
really
They're the
believed in the
same as
guys.
each other.
Or-
I happen to not believe in them, but my laziness is why I didn't vote. I voted once in my life for Ross Perot in '92.
See, because why? Because he said he would do something different. I bet,
Yeah, he's a
did
different
he?
guy. It was kind of like a fuck you to the other two.
These guys
Yeah,
have a,
yeah, fuck them other
they
two.
have a big business. They have a big business agenda, and I don't like that.
I voted
Vic
for
Henley.
Obama in 08.
Did you really?
I never voted for anybody either, ever. I was that like you, but I registered and voted for Obama in 08.
He was-
only because Alabama, I just wanted to see the black man make all the hillbillies mad. I literally voted for spite. I literally, just because I grew up around such ignorant shit.
But
I grew around such ignorant shit, I'm like, if this guy wins, these idiots are going to wake up every day like, fuck! And I really enjoyed that.
He was almost believable
I
with
agree,
some of those
right.
speeches. He was
Oh, yes,
almost
right,
believable.
right,
He had
wound
me.
up.
I was well into him.
Yes.
I thought, oh god, this guy's fantastic, but it didn't make no difference. did
No,
it?
it didn't make a damn bit of difference.
I voted once in Canada when Doug Henning ran for prime minister.
Did he really?
He was a famous magician.
We know
Oh.
Doug Henning. Come
And he
on.
said, if I can make an elephant disappear, you know I can make the deficit disappear. And I was like, I'm voting for that guy.
That's good. That's a good
It's
angle.
a good line, right?
amazing.
Yeah.
He didn't come close to winning, but it was a fun vote.
You
Doug
actually
Henning.
bought
That's
into
a great
that.
vote.
huh?
He had like a sparkly jumpsuit, and he was doing all of his speeches.
That's how he
and
talked,
stuff.
too. That's how he spoke. That was a good Doug Henning.
Magic
Was it?
is
That was him?
illusion.
That's a good Doug Henning,
Hey, little
yes.
buck teeth. Magic is illusion.
I like him. I'd vote for him. Yeah, I can make an elephant disappear. Little buck-tooth sparkly
That's what
guy.
I mean,
Have
right.
him in charge.
That's what I'm saying. He's dead now, but if he was still alive,
Yeah.
That's a
man,
good
that
vote.
killed the room. Russell was super happy that he just got sad.
I just had a chance to fall in love with him, and now you tell me he's dead. You held him in front of my
He is.
face.
Introduced me to this
sparkling.
Doug Henning,
Yeah.
and now you're taking him
He's
away.
gone.
That's
Oh,
right.
that's brutal.
And I also appreciate in the book that you point out that you are a bit of a hypocrite with this whole thing because you have a wonderful Hollywood lifestyle.
It's really hard not to be a hypocrite in this system, isn't it? Because, like, yeah, I've earned loads of money. And in fact, that's what kicked this whole thing off. I went back to the town I'm from. It's a place called Grays in Essex, which is in the suburbs of London. I guess it's a bit like Camden, New Jersey. And that place weren't that great when I was growing up. And then I went back there and it was even worse. People staggering around drunk, betting shops and pound shops, like, you know, dollar shops, everything a dollar type shop. And I thought, hold on a minute, what's going on here? Like, because now that I've become a person that's got a few quid, I go to parties, I see rich people all the time. I see people swimming in loot. I see the hypocrisy of it. I see them making laws where ordinary people can't use drugs and them sticking cocaine up their rooters all over the place. I thought, this is disgusting. I've forgotten where I'm from. I've forgotten who I am. And then, like I said, the more and more I researched it, the more and more I got into it, I thought, I can't live with myself unless I at least do the little thing that I can do as a comedian, a person who's got a voice, just contribute. No one person can do that much, but all of us together could just kick these people out and take control for ourselves and have a system that actually represents us. And I talked to loads of people and said, yeah, that's a total possibility. There are loads of systems. And like this bloke talked me through different ways you can collectivise your workplace, different ways you can organise your community. If you don't think if the amount of money you're paying for your home or your home is foreclosed, there's stuff you can do. You can organise. Together we're strong. And that's what they've done. They keep us all separated from one another. Like you were saying, mate, growing up in Alabama, they get you all racist. No people of a different colours doing anything to you. No immigrants doing anything to you. The people that are doing stuff to you is the rich people. They're in complete control. Even the crazy things that is happening in the Middle East, awful and terrifying though they are, ain't as terrifying as what's happening on our doorsteps, in our homes, in our country. We're being tyrannised right now by an elite invasive force of capitalists.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
That's good.
All right! Yes.
You did it. You did it.
Hold on.
That's going to make the
Well,
documentary.
I only
It's in
have.
the dock!
I have one point of contention. I'm a little more scared of ISIS than rich people.
Well, if they were here, yeah.
Right.
And rich ISIS people, they're the worst.
Yeah, they're the
Exactly.
worst.
Don't let
If
those
some
guys.
rich ISIS millionaire comes in here, cuts our heads off
That
and puts money
bastard.
down. Oh, no, fuck
And when you
those.
talk about the rich and how they have all the money, you keep going back to the fact that I think it's 85 people that have most of the money in the entire fucking world, right? And they're on
Yeah.
that, what do you call it, the fun bus? Not the fun bus. What was it called?
Bejeweled covered fun bus. I
Right,
did
right.
call it that, mate. You're quite right. There's,
Okay.
and now a researcher told me that it's actually 65 people. The 65 richest people in the world have got as much money as the 3.5 billion poorest. Here in America,
Wow.
yeah, that's crazy. Why is that?
65.
65, they could all just hang out with one another. What are they going to talk
What a
about?
club, yeah.
What
Exactly.
gang to be in? They're so
I
loaded.
know.
They can do what they want. They can destroy us. and then in this country, the 6 Walmart heirs that have inherited that, they've got as much money as 150 million ordinary American people. 150
Is
million.
that
have got-
50% of the country?
That's like 50% of your country. And
That's
there's only
correct.
6 of them, and they've not done any work. All they did was popped out of the right vagina.
They're not- They're not even the main guy. They're the ones that are gonna be the main guy
They're like
someday.
the grandkids.
And they
But
already
did
have
no
enough
work.
money than half the country, according to
How
Russell
can that
Brandon's
be
book
right? It
Revolution.
doesn't make sense.
I don't have as much problem with them as I do bankers and other, because at least they're a family business that started out. The bankers, and those are the people I have the problem with.
Yeah, because they got bailed out, right? Like, so like, we're sort of told that we're not communism or socialism. Those things don't work either. I mean, that's pretty clear. But like when there's the economy collapse, when all them big institutions, those too big to fail institutions, fucked themselves over and fucked over ordinary American people, causing their homes to foreclose, the government bailed them out with quantitative easing, trillions of dollars pumped into holding those people that are still giving each other big bonuses, holding their lifestyles together. While ordinary people's debt is real. If you're in debt and you're an ordinary person, you better pay that debt or you're going to jail. If you're a banker, that debt don't mean nothing. The government will bail you out.
Right.
That's not a system that represents ordinary people. Why are we tolerating it? When did we become so disengaged and disenfranchised? All these people here that can be funny, that can talk, that can represent one another. What are we doing? What are we doing? We can change things if we feel like it. We just go, we ain't fucking playing. We're going to disobey.
Now, do you believe in the end that we can have a revolution and change things up? Because it seems like you would just get new guys in to do the same shit.
That's why you got to change systems. You can't have one of the things that I've learned is that people in positions of authority, that should be considered a service role. If you're a governor or a senator or in charge of any type of group of people, nominally, it should be regarded as a position of service, not a position of authority. Like people that work in Congress and in the Senate should be like, what do you need us to do? We go like, we need you not to be taking money from lobbyists anymore. We need you to represent us. No problem. End of conversation. Democracy is what we want. Something worth voting for. We have democracy in name, but not in practice. What we have is what is called an oligarchy, where rich, super powerful people do what they want, and we can only vote on the minuscule crumbs that get cast off the table.
What is the way to get rid of the fucking the lobbyists are to me a tremendous problem.
Yeah, you can't get the money out. That's the only problem.
There's no way to get rid of the
Nader's been saying forever.
How do you get rid of the
the money
lobbyists?
out of government? You can't get the money. And by the way, Chris, that was oligarchy.
That's a great. I'm still thinking about that one. You caught me on that one, man.
You've got to come up with one because you've done the
Jeez, man.
Wow. Elite, rich elite. And I even did the definition while we were talking about it.
I actually thought that was
enough one in your book.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
I
You
was
worked
stuck
it
on
in.
that.
I
man.
thought it was a
stuck
girl's
on
name.
Right.
Yeah, but the lobbyists are tremendous. That's the problem is you cannot get rid of those lobbyists. There's no way, and those are the
You
ones
can't
who
get the
really
money out
make
of government.
There's a man called Lawrence Lessig in your country who is trying to organise a pact to get money out of politics and end lobbying in Washington. So that man, Lawrence Lessig, you should look him up. He's doing loads of stuff.
And what country were you talking about where they were able to do something with the bankers?
Iceland.
It was
They kicked
Iceland?
them out. Yeah, Iceland.
There was a lot of big words in that chapter, so I was a little confused.
Right.
But basically, they figured out how to, fuck some of these guys over.
Yeah, the financial industry collapsed their economy, like in your country and in my country, and the government went, we're just going to bail them out. And the people of Iceland went, you fucking ain't, they can fuck right off. And the government had to be disbanded and was replaced, but they formed a parliament of ordinary Icelandic people and rejected it. They sort of had a revolution in Iceland. All a revolution means is we want change, and we know that the system we've got at the moment isn't going to give that change, because for them, they don't need change. They've already got the thing they want, so all they have to do is keep us pumped full of bullshit. So we go, oh yeah, it's fine, there's nothing you can do. That's a good show. Oh, I like it. As long as we're in that state, we ain't going to do anything. All we have to do is go, actually, this don't work for us no more.
Very good. You talk about changing the consciousness of the entire country. That's a big one.
That's a big one, isn't it? But I mean, all I can do is focus on my own consciousness, and I've changed. Other people in this room, I'm like a serious drug addict and alcoholic, and so I know that it's possible for me to change as an individual, and that makes me believe that other people can change. And to quote Rocky IV, if I can change and you can change, maybe the whole goddamn world can change.
That's going to make the documentary. Come on. He practiced that one. He practiced
You
that
should
one.
be in the edit. You're fantastic.
Wow. Make sure that's it. How long have you been clean now? It's been a while, right?
It'll be 12 years on December the 13th.
12 years. And you found, did you find meditation before that?
No, I found everything worthwhile after I stopped taking drugs. Actually,
Okay. I
amazingly,
wasn't sure.
Before it, I had nothing.
You said something interesting in the book. And I'm changing gears slightly, but where you believe in God, you meditate and believe in God. I thought that was kind of cool because you seem like someone that wouldn't believe in God.
I do believe in God. For that, in a way, what my belief in God means is that all we can see and experience through our senses, there must be more to life to it. I mean, even the human eye can't see certain colours that animals can see. The human ear can hear certain vibrations that animals, we can't. There's certain vibrations we can't hear that animals can hear. So it's like there's information out there that we can't see and we can't receive. And all my belief in God really is that we're connected to one another. We have an obligation to be kind to one another, and things like love can't be quantified, written down, and understood. And those things should move to the core of our culture rather than ideas like selfishness and greed, which is what our culture is sort of based on at the moment. So my belief in God is really a belief in the connection between all of us and our obligation to put those values to the forefront of our society.
That is a Brobdingnagian point. Which
Gulliver's Travel. Which is Brobdingnagian.
Let me check
what
that.
is it?
What
Jonathan Swift. He's quoting Gulliver's Travel. The Brobdingnagian.
It's on page 193.
193.
Brobdingnagian.
something.
I don't
Chris
pronounce it.
Jericho's book, by the way.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
giant.
3 of Chris's book.
It's a
Chris Jericho's
it's a
book.
giant point that you have there,
Yes,
Russell.
correct.
I just couldn't. I couldn't let it lie.
That's a great one, Chris. That's a great
I mean,
one.
that was I've got an erection. That was beautiful.
Russell's telling this amazing story about his connection, and I'm totally
Just
into it.
trying
I
to
just
find
had
a
to try
bigger
and trump
word.
him with a bigger word.
Yeah, no, I
With a
can't
more-
fight that.
With a more Brobdingnagian word.
That is one of the most Brobdingnagian pieces of radio I've been involved with. I've got to say.
That's actually, not to be a dick, but you're actually both using the word incorrectly.
Oh, come on! No, that's the right use.
Twice today you stole my thunder.
Why are you ruining the show?
I just lied, but I wanted to show you how little faith they had.
Shit, we were exposed. He exposed us. We were frauds there, Chris. We don't even know what Brobdingnagian means. I think I said it differently each time I said
We need
it.
to just
We all
start.
did.
We need
We
to
all
start
did.
our own show where we use those words. Just go. Oh yes, yes.
yeah.
Very wise, Russell. Very wise.
Very funny.
You are very wise.
You are a noble thinker, Chris.
I do like how we've gone from Norton's alley, ass getting spanked in a dirty alley, to vocabulary.
I also
I love all of a sudden it's vocabulary.
the Alabama redneck was the one who said it's called Brobdingnagian. You're using it in the wrong terms. It's from Gulliver's Travels.
I don't get to quote Swift a lot. I don't get to quote Swift a lot.
Swift.
Don't come up a lot where you drink.
No, that's true. It's more of a Harper Lee To Kill a Mockingbird.
that,
Sometimes some Faulkner. But again, I'm educated.
And you're getting into quantum physics, which is just mind-blowing.
Yeah, well, I just read a book about it. I mean, look, I'm not an expert on quantum physics, let me tell you, but they do experiments where they observe the behaviours of electrons. Electrons are one of the particles
Right.
what atoms are made of. Electrons behave differently under observation to when they're not observed. When no one's
That's
looking at them,
crazy.
they behave as waves. When someone looks at them, they behave as particles. And the most basic element of our universe, the laws of physics, are behaving differently than we've always assumed. And that just made me think, well, everything's up for question then. We know so little of our universe. We live in a tiny corner of what is possible and of what is real. The only things that we actually know are real are love and the feelings that we have for one another, and of course loads of physical laws. But why are we rejecting these beautiful things that everyone in the world will say the most important things in their life are their friends and their family? The way that we're told the universe works isn't actually how it works, even at the most basic and fundamental level. Everything's up for question. Everything's up for question. If there are any systems that aren't serving people, they're only serving a few people, we should question them and replace them if they don't work. It's not that radical, really.
Do you believe there's life out there?
I do actually, mate. I am one of them people, but I try not to talk about stuff like that in case I sound wacky.
No,
but,
why?
You mean you're worried about sounding wacky?
Was it too late?
Aliens?
Yeah, they think in an
life all over
infinite
the fucking
universe,
place.
it's
Me
in
too. Oh,
eternity.
totally,
There's
dude.
got to be, hasn't there,
Oh, I
Chris?
believe 1,000%.
Well, that's not what the Bible says.
We're just not close to anything. That's our problem.
I just think it's very arrogant as the human race to think we're the only ones in
it's
the galaxy.
ridiculous
There's 10
to think
million
that.
trillion planets, and we're the only life on the Earth. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. I think
No.
there's life out
But how
there.
did-
I think there's life in the ocean we haven't discovered. I think there's life in the
Yeah.
forest we haven't discovered. I think there's just too much unknown, and we're very arrogant as a race to go, oh, no, we're the only things. There's no such thing as an afterlife. There's no such thing as a ghost or an alien. I don't buy it.
Our understanding of reality is too limited, I think, to make those kind of assumptions. In a way, the position of being an atheist is a kind of a mad one, because it's like, well, what we know now, that's
it. Right. That's exactly right.
But what about what we knew 100 years ago? There's already loads of new stuff. There's
Right.
loads of new information. Information will be coming all of the
course.
time. And different aspects of consciousness. Any of you that have ever taken any hallucinogenic drugs will sort of think, hold on a minute, the whole world just fell apart and reformulated itself. People that take like sort of ayahuasca tell you that within their own consciousness they have sort of common experiences. People mean peculiar beings of light. Now, if you've taken drugs, I mean everything's up for grabs. But what's actually happening in there? What are we seeing? What is reality? There's so many questions, and I think it's beautiful to be open to those kind of
I agree.
possibilities.
I agree. At least be open to it.
Yeah, why
you know?
not?
How did you describe the Milky Way with the teacup in the book?
Oh yeah, this
Because
is.
that puts things in perspective for
My
real.
God, they said you can never understand this. I spoke to this astronomer and he told me, he goes, you can't conceive of the side of the Milky Way like just by normal terms. So just think of it as a metaphor. He goes, like, He goes that imagine that the Milky Way was the size of the United States of America, then our solar system would fit into a single teacup in Kansas. A teacup in Kansas.
Oh,
So
wow,
look at the vast. And then he goes, there are 400 million Milky Ways in our universe. 400 million galaxies.
And that number will probably change, obviously,
Yeah.
as we continue moving forward.
Watch it be
found another
402. Is that the exact number?
And then we're just trying to get outside that teacup. That's all we're trying to do with
Yeah,
our
exactly.
spaceships.
Exactly.
We're not going anywhere.
See, that's the whole thing. And I don't want to start getting into wacky talk, but to me, I'm not saying
I
that
love wacky talk.
I'm not saying
Chris Jericho.
I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I have a real problem believing we went to the moon in 1969 and haven't gone back since. Because I have listen, I have a phone here. Okay,
Yeah.
This iPhone 3 years ago was irrelevant, didn't work. 2 years ago. So why in 50 years haven't we made a new rocket ship that can take us to Mars? Why isn't there a Starbucks on the moon? Why isn't there a McDonald's in the moon? Why aren't there people just going to the moon like Richard Branson just because they have billions and squillions of dollars that just want to go for a joyride and for a fun weekend?
Is it because, like, when the space race happened, it was part of the conflict between the Soviet Union and America, and it was like a necessary thing
to get there first?
Yeah, maybe there was different political motivations at that time. Because I'm curious about all that kind of stuff, and like that flag is blowing. That looks weird. There's a shadow. That shadow wouldn't be there. I've read about that kind of stuff, but it's such an important part of American history.
But
those
even if
moon
we did
landings,
go,
huh?
why haven't we gone still? Man likes to do that. Likes to go and like, you know, like I said, like McDonald's or Starbucks as a corporation would want to put a flag on the moon that says the first Starbucks is on the moon.
Didn't they take? They went like a bunch of times, I think, and I think they just got what they needed from it. And with the Mars trip, they have to invent stuff that can kind of take care of you medically because it's a 3-year trip. So they're like worried if somebody develops a tumor on the way to Mars, you'll be dead by the time you get there.
But why not still go to the moon?
I don't think there's anything there.
There's
There's nothing
doesn't
people
matter.
do.
It's human beings.
It would just be cool to do again.
The funding, but you can't get the funding for that. They won't give you the funding just to go. I think this is too much money. Yeah, that's
I
my
think you
guess.
raise an interesting point in that there's so little trust. I mean, like, you know, when I sometimes think, what is in all these top secret files? Some of the information will be stuff that you think, oh, well, it's good the Russians or the Chinese or whoever don't know that. But I think a good amount of that information would be stuff that if we knew it, we'd go, oh my
totally.
God, we've trusted you.
Absolutely.
And there are extraterrestrials. Oh, you did kill JFK. We were trusted you. The majority of that information is going to be stuff that would make us ungovernable.
Well, I'm sure you went through this too when 9/11 happened. I remember there was the government guys that said, listen, like, this is one that got through and it's a horrible tragedy. But he said, if you guys knew how many of these type of things we stop every
before,
year,
yeah.
there'd be mass panic in the streets.
Really?
Like there's one of these like every month or every day that we stop.
We were privy to some of those guys, and
Yeah,
you
who
don't
were they?
want
What
to
do you mean,
know.
CIA?
That's right.
You don't, more or less, and they would say you don't want to fucking know what we deal with every fucking
Yes.
day.
Yeah.
And
That's
said real
exciting.
scary
He's friends
shit.
with Muhammad Atta.
Honestly, never gave real details, but just backing up your point. Just backing up your point.
I'm sure there's stuff like that.
Sorry, I
all the
should have
time.
let that one breathe, Jimmy. That was too good. That was
You
too
should.
good.
I know. I agree.
I'm trying to have a serious, stupid conversation with Jericho,
With
and
me, I
then
know.
Jimmy's killing over
No,
there.
I was loving it.
We have to wrap up. Russell's a very busy man. I'm so glad you came back to our show finally.
I really enjoyed it. It's
We
been
had
a
a
total
great-
That's been
laugh.
fun, yeah.
We had a great time with you, and I said, you'll never be back. And you
Here
actually,
I am.
You actually said to me at the time, though, you go, you're right. And it's about 5 or 6 years ago.
This is a
but-
one-time deal, like all my nocturnal
It's all
endeavors.
right.
He didn't
Whatever.
recognize the name. It's a new name,
I
so he wasn't sure
understand
what
that.
show it was.
I'm really happy to be here. I've
Russell, I
had a
really
laugh.
did enjoy the book. It's
Thank
called
you.
Revolution, New York Times best-selling author. Damn.
I'm really glad you read most of it. I'm
Most of it.
flattered. Thank
I'll
you.
get to the end. I was
Cheers.
trying to get to the end before you got here, but I
Can you
fell
read
short.
a page of mine at some
Let's
point
not
too?
forget
please?
Chris Jericho's book.
Chris Jericho's
Best
book.
in the world.
Well, I didn't read Russell's only because I got it late and I read Chris's. That was why.
So it's fair. It's equal
Thanks,
now.
Jimmy.
It's level
You're
now.
welcome.
It's level now.
He's lying,
And I know
Chris.
you don't mean that, but I'll take
Oh,
it
okay.
as gospel.
That was my acting, though. I actually turned it sincerely naughty.
That's very good.
My head turned like Michael Myers, though, and I gave myself away. I'm a bad liar.
You got that weird twitch anyway, so I never know which is which.
It's
with
just
you.
a disaster.
Can you sign this
yeah,
for a
yeah.
listener, though?
To
for a
Opie.
listener. No, for real. I'll give it away on my Twitter a little later today.
Is wrestling real? That's what I want to know.
It's as real as the moon landing.
Oh, work out for yourself,
nice.
listeners.
Exactly.
So you really don't think we landed?
I'm not saying we didn't. It just very much confuses me that we haven't gone back. And
I
we
feel like
don't
we
do
did.
it.
I think we did.
I mean, I'm you know, like I said, I could go
who
either
was
way,
in
but
here?
why aren't we still
Buzz
there?
Aldrin.
But we had Buzz in
See,
here.
I've
He
sat
would-
next
he
to
would
Buzz
punch
Aldrin.
you.
No, Buzz knows that I know that I know that he didn't go. He sees me and he turns the other way.
Oh,
Yeah, he knows.
It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I see
He
him go.
won't look at it. He won't look at it.
He runs
when,
away.
like when I asked him a question about his stupid book to Mars that he wrote, and I said, well, what about the, I asked him some question about personality profile, and he goes, well, let's not dilly-dally. I've got to get to CNN. Fuck you, second.
He really
He say dilly-dally?
Screamed at me. Yeah, dilly-dally.
He said dilly-dally. He really said dilly-dally.
He hated me.
Maybe if you didn't dilly-dally, you'd have been first on the moon.
Oh, I wish I would have said that.
Next time you see him, Norton.
God, I wish I would have said that.
We can recreate it. We can recreate it.
With that, we got to say thanks to Russell
Thanks, guys.
Russell Brand. Good luck with the book and the
Thank
tour
you.
there, all right? Come back and see us.
I will. I'd love to.
All right, well, that sucked. Thanks for listening to the Opie and Anthony podcast. To hear the Opie and Anthony show 5 days a week live on satellite radio, online on your phone or tablet, or even on demand, go to SiriusXM.com. Also, interact with the Opie and Anthony show on Twitter @Opie Radio,